Okay.
Okay,
Hello,
thank you.
everyone. Welcome to Brainpower TV. I have another exciting guest with us today. This is Dr. Echo, and I have with us Maricela Robles, and she's an amazing friend I got to meet. We took a course together, and she teaches so much good stuff about meditation and how to help your kids. So without further ado, Maricela, would you please, well, first of all, welcome. And would you please tell us how you got to where you are and why you're doing what you're doing for kids and parents?
Hello, thank you for having me here. I'm super excited. It's so great to see your beautiful face again as well. I love catching
Well,
up. So, as you said, so my name is Maricela, and I am a certified meditation and mindfulness teacher, and I'm also an author. I used to be a lawyer, so I didn't go into this straight from, let's say, from high school or from university, but actually a lot of things happened in my life that eventually led me into what I'm doing today, which is meditation. And I'm very, very passionate about actually teaching meditation to kids and obviously as well to parents, because what I found is that if the parents are not involved in meditation or know about it themselves, then it becomes a bit more difficult to
right,
teach it to children. And
right.
also, more than that, it becomes about like, oh, fix my child.
Mhm,
Like, give
right,
meditation to my child to sort them out, and I don't have to do anything.
right.
So initially, I started with meditation for kids through books. I'm an author, as I said as well, and I write children's stories that teach them the concepts of meditation in a sort of fun and easy way that parents can do.
Right.
And I also do courses for parents to show them what meditation is, and basically that they can start a meditation practice, and
Right.
then how to integrate it as a family. So, how they can then, with the help of all of these different tools that I show them, introduce meditation and mindfulness to their kids.
Right.
That's a bit in a nutshell who I am and what I do.
So wonderful. So for, I know meditation, everybody talks about it these days, but what is it really? Can you tell us?
Yes. Meditation. You see, I used to think that meditation was just for, right, Tibetan monks at the top of a hill or a mountain, and you're there reaching nirvana and you don't eat for days and all of that. And I just want to tell you that's not what it's about. So don't worry about it. You don't have to become a monk or a hippie or stop eating or whatever else. Anybody can do meditation at any time, anywhere. You just need yourself, your body, and then you can just close your eyes. And sometimes you don't even have to close your eyes.
Right.
But meditation at its core, and I want to say there's also a lot of people, when they learn a specific type of meditation, they feel very strongly about it. And then they go like, oh no, the only real type of meditation is this one.
Right.
And that's not true, right? And there's many different types, and at its core, really, and I love this definition, meditation is about helping you retrain your attention, retrain your focus, retrain your thoughts.
Love
So
that.
we have our thoughts are all over the place most of the
Mhm.
time, right?
Right.
We are thinking, you know about 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day,
Right.
of which about 80% are the same as the day before,
Right.
which means that you could be thinking the same thoughts that you were thinking last month or last year, even today, and you haven't sort of really introduced anything new.
Right.
And so you might just be trapped in the cycles of thoughts that maybe you don't want to be trapped.
Mhm.
And through meditation, what you do is you learn to, instead of letting your mind just go, down the rabbit hole, wherever
Right.
it is that it wants to go, to just bring it back and
Mhm.
say, okay, let's retrain and be focused on this moment
Right.
and on this task and on this issue, on this feeling, on this, whatever it is. That's when you hear people saying, oh, meditation is about the present moment. But I
Right.
think sometimes that seems a bit ethereal or a bit sort of hippie kind of thing.
Right.
So when you think about it, okay, I'm taking my attention to this specific task that I'm doing.
Mhm.
That makes a lot more sense about what meditation is, and it helps obviously
Right.
in tons of different aspects, because you're teaching yourself and your body to take your attention where you want to direct it, not where your mind or last there, you know, the neighbor that shouted at you, whatever. No, where you want to focus on.
Right.
That would be in a nutshell what meditation is, if you were to ask me.
Yes, and so that lets us know that we should put ourselves in the driver's seat of our brains, which is why the name of this show, Brain Power, because we want to teach you that you are in control of your brain. And if you love your brain, you will love your life. But then if you have no idea and you just let this mind take you wherever it goes, then, well, what shows up is what's going on in your life, correct?
Exactly. It's about, I mean, in a way it is about, it's taking back control,
Right.
but also being in tune, right? With having your mind and body in tune, because then, I mean, to me, certainly in my experience, my thoughts and my mind, and maybe I wasn't listening to my body. And that's what led me through this big change where
Right.
I found meditation, because I suffered from postnatal depression. I then developed vestibular migraines. I had a burnout. And so all of these things happened where I wasn't listening to my body, and I wasn't in tune with my body, because I was just trying to, like, no, I have to keep working. I have to get things done, and I have to look after my kids, and I have to, I have to,
Right.
until boom, I got grounded by vestibular migraines, because at that point, they're the ones that make you dizzy.
Right.
And I couldn't drive. I couldn't get on public transport because I would get more dizzy and want to throw up. I couldn't, basically even walking at certain points, I looked like I was drunk, because I felt like I was gonna fall when I was walking. So it forced me to stop. And even though at the time it felt awful, I have to say, I'm glad it happened, because it forced me to have a look at what I was doing, everything, and realize, okay, I need to make massive changes in my life. But what I do want to say is that a lot of people like myself come to meditation after getting to that point. But the beauty and the reason why I became so passionate about teaching this to kids is that you don't have to. Like, you don't have to get to that point. You don't have to get to the burnout. You don't have to get to, depression to be able to say, okay, let me try meditation and see if it helps. Just as you don't let your kids, okay, I'm only going to teach you to brush your teeth once your teeth start rotting, right? It would be the equivalent. Let's see if they fall and they start rotting, and then let me show you how they should. No.
That's called child abuse.
Exactly. You don't. You do that before. It's a skill. It's a skill that if I knew that if I had it as a child, I would have been able to cope so much better.
You are
and then and then for me, it became an urgency. I was like, I need to teach this to my son. Like, not because it's cool or trendy or it's a nice to have, because it's an essential skill that we should all have. It teaches you so many things. And amongst them, it teaches you how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is a massive skill to have, because we've never been taught that, right? We've always gone through life thinking, oh no, you have to be happy and you have to be okay and don't cry and don't. Sometimes things are uncomfortable. And you need to learn to process it, and you need to learn to get through it. And slowly, you don't have to dwell in it, but you can get through it. And for me, meditation, that's a tool that really helps you to be able to do that.
Okay. So I'm gonna have you read from your book, right?
Oh my God. I need to go and get it then.
Yes, you can go get it. That's fine, because we want to give parents like a taste of it. I mean, and practical tips and practical ways for them to initiate this. And so,
for sure.
Go grab it. Please go ahead. I'm sorry, I should have asked you before we started.
Let me see if I can grab a copy that I have here, but maybe, okay, let me go and grab it. And then I can read you from the actual physical copy. Hold on.
Okay, that sounds great. So parents and kids watching, you heard Miss Maricela talking about how important it is to be aware of who we are, because brains and our bodies are absolutely connected. And if we lose track of one or the other, then life and our bodies have a way of like slowing us down and making us pay attention. And so Maricela's back.
I am back. So you can see this. So this is the first book. It's called
Still a boat.
Exactly. You don't need your body to sail a boat. I needed to put things in there that would appeal to kids, obviously. And
right.
So there's like has a pirate sort of story kind of aspect. But the book is really about, I mean, it's an illustrated book. Mm-hmm. So, it looks basically and feels like any other picture book that you would read to your children. Mm-hmm. And that was my main aim, to be able to, because I think when you come to kids and you say, oh, look, I'm going to teach you this new thing and we're going to do it. And they're like, okay, whatever.
What's mom up to now? What's a new thing?
Yeah, exactly. What is it that you want me to do? Whereas as a book, if you already read to your kids, even if you don't read to your kids, then that's something that you can just introduce and say, hey, I got a new book. Right. And it ignites curiosity and it encourages them to, okay, let's just give it a go, right? Mm-hmm. And so, for example, I'll read a couple of things. So it basically, it starts where two children are together, and one of them is telling the other, you know what, you don't need your body to sail a boat. And so it starts with this confusing thing. What are you talking about? Right. So she says, well, you have a magic door inside your mind that can take you wherever you want to go. Right. And the other one's like, magic door, I don't get it, etc. And so they talk through this whole process of saying, well, you have to sit still, you have to close your eyes, you have to, then start almost like listening to yourself. And so, for example, I read, this is where she's trying it again. So she tried it once, it didn't work. And It was important for me to show them, like, look, the first time might not sort of be as successful as you want it to be. So you just need to try again. Right. Yeah. So it says, so Ava closed her eyes again and thought, I need to be patient. And although she had never done it, she tried it anyway. Everything was dark and she felt a little afraid at first, but she decided to feel brave, and then she was brave. Everything was still dark, and suddenly she heard Sebastian's voice. Can you feel the boat yet? How it moves in the waves. Ava thought about how it would feel to be on a boat. She thought that perhaps it would feel a bit wobbly, but mostly she imagined it would be like being on a gentle swing. At this moment, her heart became full with excitement. At that very moment, she began to feel a bit of water on her face, and she could almost smell the sea. And just like magic, a door opened in front of her. It was not dark anymore. She stepped through it, and suddenly she was in a beautiful pirate ship. And then the kids go and basically have an adventure on this pirate ship. They go to an island, they play in the sand, they do all of these things. And that really is sort of, it has elements of, okay, you need to close your eyes, you need to be patient, you need to listen, you need to get yourself calm and feel happiness to be able to, because if you're angry and upset, not much is going to happen. You're just going to be angry and upset in the meditation. So if you let yourself relax and you let your heart sort of, calm down and do some breathing, then that's when the magic starts to happen. Right. And so this, I've gotten, from parents saying that the kids want to try meditation after reading it, which is fantastic. That's the whole point. Right. So yeah, it's all about, like I said, it's about igniting that curiosity in children.
Right. Yes. I love the one line you read about, I think you said she feels.
Yeah. She decided to feel brave, and then she was brave.
That alone, we can have a whole conversation on. It's true. It does start with the choice we make, right?
Exactly.
We choose to feel brave. We choose to feel happy. We choose to feel joyful, even if the circumstances around us may not necessarily be that way. And that's how you can get through hard times, right?
Yes, I love that. I love that you
Yeah.
pointed that out,
Right.
because it's true. We don't have, we may not have a lot of control over some of the negative thoughts that we have, because they just come, and maybe you remember and you feel, but we can be proactive about the thoughts that we put our attention to.
That's
And
right.
that's where the retraining of attention comes into. So, okay, I
Mhm.
had this bad thought that somebody was not nice to me, or
Right.
it made me feel bad. But instead of focusing my attention on that, I can shift my
Mhm.
attention and introduce positive thoughts.
Right.
It doesn't mean repress. That's
Right.
different.
Uh-huh.
It means I'm proactively choosing to focus on this particular thought instead of dwelling
On
on
that.
this other one, which is not going to make a difference, and it's just going to make me feel bad.
Exactly. And it's going to take you in a rabbit hole. And then before you know it,
Exactly.
I've gone
Exactly.
down south, downwards. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So in your courses, how do you what are the tips you give parents to help their kids with like introducing them to meditation?
Yes, no, for sure. So in the courses, the way that I have it set up is that basically it's about 6 modules, and when I do them live, we do this over 6 weeks.
Okay.
Although it's also available online. And the first 4 modules are always just focused on the parents, because
Right.
for me it's like, you need to put your oxygen masks first. You need to, take care of yourself first and figure out what's going on with you
Right.
first
Right.
before we start going into how you're actually going to end up helping your kids.
Right.
And that's really, I think that's really big and important for parents to recognize, because like I've heard time and again from people that I worked with, they're like, oh, I've realized when I'm calmer, my kids are calmer. And I was like,
They feed off
yeah,
us. They feed off
exactly.
us. And kids don't look at kids don't necessarily listen more to what we say. It's what we do, really. They're
Exactly,
looking
exactly,
at.
exactly. So there's a lot of modeling that we need to obviously be doing for them. And then the last 2 modules, then it's all about the kids.
Right.
It's all, and so the last 2 modules is all completely about the kids. We go and say, okay, I talk to them about mindfulness exercises.
Mhm.
I give them then meditation scripts as well that they can try with their kids. Some of these exercises can be very simple but very powerful. One
Right.
of the exercises, actually, I have both parents and kids doing it, and it's about, it's really, it's like a doing a retraining of attention with their eyes open.
Oh,
So I
okay.
ask them to focus, for
Mhm.
example, and you can do this at home, you can do this with anything. I ask
Okay.
them to focus with in a particular object. So for example, I happen to have this. That's
Okay.
like a little control for a fan that I have
Okay.
because it's very hot today. So then I say, okay, we're going to focus on this for, we're going to put a timer and we're going to focus on this for 15 seconds.
Okay.
And you have to look at this, and the trick is, or the rules are, you cannot think about anything else other than this. You can
Okay.
look at it, appreciate it, look at the color, see it for what it is. The moment that you start thinking about something else, then if this is with kids, then you say, put your hand up. I thought about something else, and then you start all over again. And
Right.
then the person who gets to a 30 seconds or a minute, then they win, right? And you can do
Mhm.
it as, okay, you won
Right.
this round or something of the sort.
Right.
When you do it with kids or even with adults, sometimes they don't even get to 5 seconds. Sometimes it's, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, hand up. And then as they're going more and more, they'll get to those 30 seconds.
Right.
And then we have a conversation of, wow, did you realize, like, where did your mind go?
Right.
You know, what were you thinking about?
Right.
How do you think that works? Were you surprised at so many thoughts that are coming? And that by itself, it's so revealing and eye-opening. They don't realize how much their mind wanders, right?
Right.
And so this is as much about retraining your attention. You could call it a really like a meditation with your eyes open, because you're focusing on the task.
Right.
And it's also a focusing exercises. So for kids who are still, if they're still doing homeschooling, or if they're still struggling at school, you know, now that they're going to go from having no interaction to a lot of interaction,
Right.
they might find it difficult. And so it's about then, okay, let's focus our attention on the task and on this issue, because if you focus as well, things will be faster, easier. You know, you're not fighting with
Mhm.
all of these thoughts, and so you can get things done faster when you do that.
Right, right. And I think that's the key, getting things done faster when you do them, because kids like to feel a sense of accomplishment that they
Yeah.
finish their task. And then, especially, and then if they're struggling and they're all over the place, like when I tell them, hey, you know, we're gonna work on, I'm gonna teach you how to take care of your brain. They're like, oh, really? because, they like want to be in charge of their little brains. And so like,
Exactly.
yeah. And then if you're telling them, oh, you're gonna learn how to be able to finish this so that you can be so you're a super champion, and you can, and maybe if you have to incentivize them, whatever it is.
Or go and play, like
I
you're done,
know.
and then you can go
Yeah,
and play, right?
exactly. And you can go and play. And yeah, so I love it. And that's so simple. It's like just 5, 15 seconds.
Yes, it's an
They
excellent
can
little
play
exercise.
anywhere, even in the car or something.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And you don't just, I mean, I picked this, you can do it with a pen, you can do it whatever. Like
Yeah.
you just pick something, and it's all about, okay. And of course you get their like competition, like competitive side, right?
Of
Because they're
course.
like, you know, I want to reach the 15 hour, I want to reach the 30 seconds. And
Yeah.
they don't know it. And they're actually practicing focus, practicing retaining their
Right.
attention,
Yeah.
practicing also calming down, because they need to quiet sort of their mind and focus on that. So it seems so simple, and yet it has so many benefits.
Yeah. And then one that comes to mind is the bonding between you and your kid, because this opens up such a big area for discussion, right? So when you
Yes.
start talking about the thoughts you were having, I mean, you find out things you had no idea were going on in your kid's mind. That's right.
Exactly.
And if we don't
Exactly.
pause to talk to our kids, we're gonna miss it.
Yes.
Our school counselors should not know more about our kids than we do for no reason. But that's what happens
Exactly.
because we are so
Exactly.
busy going. I'm including myself in this talk, so busy going that we don't actually stop to ask more than how was school today, because they need to
Exactly.
know, they want you to ask them more than that.
Yeah. But,
Like,
and also sometimes they don't know how to, or it feels weird for them to sort of express something, or
right,
they're not sure how to express it. And so this, you're asking, it's because you're doing something, an activity, you're not asking them, oh, how do you feel? It's
exactly.
surrounding the activity. And so it feels less threatening, maybe, if that's, if, I mean, that's not quite the word, but it feels less sort of on them, like you have to tell me what you think and what you did in school and how it all went, right? They're all talking,
Right,
oh yeah, you know, I started thinking about, and they might say about something that happened 2 days ago, and
right.
you're like, wow, that's still on their mind. Why? Okay, that's interesting. And so it opens, like you say, a channel of communication, which I love. It's beautiful, because you want to establish that, right? You want to establish
Right.
that from as young as possible,
Yes.
before, you know, so that you can then teenage years and all of that, it's fine. You got it in the bag. You got the communication in
Right.
there.
And can you imagine, because you know the brain growth mostly happens, or things are really set. Yes, the brain doesn't stop growing until age 25, but things
Yes.
are set in the 0 to 5. So can you
Yes.
imagine if you taught your 2-year-old how to communicate with you using this, how both of you they can use the words they are learning, and they can interact with you without any fear, because the other thing is they're not sure how you will respond to them. So that's a lot of the reason why they don't talk about things going on with them. But if you teach your 0 to 5-year-old kid, this becomes a skill, like you said, is an essential skill. Like, how amazing is that? Because it's what we teach them in those critical years that show up after, right? And that's
Exactly.
why books are so important, because the more you read to your kids, the better readers they are. There's so much
Yes.
research that shows kids who are read to 0 to 5, they are super kids in school. And those who are
Yeah.
not read to don't do so well. So that's another. I love that you're using books to teach this such an essential skill, but then it also brings the parent and the child together, which is the best thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, we love our evening stories. And for him, actually, like if we, that, I mean, we've never taken it away, obviously, but
Right.
it's like, if we say like, there's not going to be stories tonight, it's like, it's honestly, it's worse than saying no TV or no games
Oh,
or
wow.
whatever it is. For him,
That's wonderful.
it's essential, which I'm super happy about, because I'm a book nerd. And so
That's wonderful. So when are both of you writing a book together?
I know. I told him the other day, I said, he's already written his first book on his own. He wrote it for his dad for Father's Day. It's very cute. It's
Wonderful.
about a little witch and all of that. And he did really well, actually, the drawings and all of those things.
Right.
But yes, that's something that we need to do at some point, I think. I mean, for now, he's the star, obviously, in the books, because
Of
that's
course.
sort of Sebastian, that's him. And
Yes.
but yeah, we have a lot of fun. And obviously I've been teaching him this since he was like just about 3.5 years old, something like that, just before
Right.
4. And now for him, now he'll catch me. He'll say things like, no, if I say, oh, that was silly of me, or why did I do that, or something like that, he'll say, Mommy, don't say that, because then you will be silly and you will become who you say you are. And I
Oh,
was like,
yes.
that is true, because that's what I've told you. They then
So
become, they
wonderful.
catch you
Yes, I
off
love it.
and how you're reacting and how you're acting. And sometimes, if it's happened where I lose it and he's like, why are you angry? Why are you so angry today? And I was like, oh my God, yes, why am I so angry? and it's wonderful, because then we come to this understanding that he sees that I'm not infallible. I'm just, I'm a mom, but I'm a human being. And I
Right.
also make mistakes, and I also have needs, and I also need to apologize, so that he understands that I'm learning as much as he is learning,
Right.
right?
Which is
We
so
tend,
important. Yes, because our kids need to know that. They need to
yes.
know that perfection is not what we are requiring, because there's no such thing. That is a recipe for disaster. My 3-year-old tells me when I start to yell, she's like, Mommy, you're breaking the rules by yelling. I'm like, oh. Immediately, I have to stop. Gosh.
It's really annoying when they throw it back at you. Like you're like, okay, I made that rule for a reason.
You know.
I cannot be now going around yelling.
Your own rules.
Exactly.
Oh, it's always so wonderful. Yeah, that's a skill they need, so that they have grace on themselves, and they know that they will fall down and they'll get back up. And right, isn't that life? We fall down and we
Yes,
get up.
exactly. And
Right.
that they understand that just because, just because it's an adult, we
Yeah.
tend to, I think there's all this issue about like, I'm an adult, I know better, and I'm an
Right.
adult. And to put ourselves as parents on a pedestal for the kids. And then they're always like, either trying to seek approval or trying to like, oh, okay, well, if the adult says, and no, I mean, part of all of this is they need to think for themselves, and
Right.
they need to realize, okay, well, yes, you're an adult, but maybe what you're saying is not right.
Mhm.
Maybe, I need to double think about it. And that's the type of also thinking that leads to innovation, and then the curiosity. And there's so many
Right.
things that we can't even fathom that start sort of
Right.
spreading out, which helps them develop in many ways.
Yes, you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
So it's been so great chatting with you. But can you tell our parents where they can find out more about you?
Yes, definitely. So on my website, meditationfairy.com. I'm also on Instagram with the same handle, Meditation Fairy.
Okay.
Where they can, that's where they can find the books, they can find guided meditations, information about the course as well. So that's where they can reach out, and then they can send me an email. My email is there on the website as well. I always answer everything. So
Hey.
feel free to reach out. I love getting emails.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Maricela, for honoring us with your time. So I hope kids and parents, I hope you enjoyed it. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.